Countdown. We're live. Hello, I'm Willie Bragg. Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show, where I usually like to discuss politics, but today is kind of gloomy. This is gloomier than usual. I did one on Nina Turner, and I got to do one on this one on Roe versus Wade, which it looks like it's about to be overturned. There's been a leaked memo of its draft that is going to be overturned in a vote in June. And there's a couple of angles to this, and I don't really get too much into abortion. But the U.S. Supreme Court for many years has been chipping it away. And all I'm going to say about the issue of abortion is that's actually been in decline on its own for years. I mean, like on its own, women actually are choosing not to have abortion and without anybody telling them not to. Whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, I would think that most people will be happy about that. And instead of doing that, people want to make a freaking culture war out of it. And that's how our society sort of sway these days, making a culture war out of everything. Well, as I said, it's been chipped away for quite I would say several years. It's been chipped away, and it's being chipped away in the state level. At some states, it's almost illegal. In some states, it's not just legal, it's very, very accessible. So that's where we're at. I would say right now, Roe versus Wade is actually gone in everything but its name. In other words, we're in the year 1972 again, where it's legal in some states and it's actually it's damn close to being totally illegal in a lot of other states. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I mean, I don't think it'll ever be totally banned in all 50 states if it's ever officially overturned. And I even don't think that abortion will be banned forever either. But what I think is going to happen is that, I mean, well, for example, I do think that the culture war aspect of it will linger on in ways that I don't think it needs to keep lingering on. And again, all of this is unfortunate on all sides. So and I'm not being wishy-washy saying that. And what I hate about this country when it comes to political discourse is that everything, absolutely everything you can imagine, nothing is sacred. Everything has to be a culture war. So whenever a disaster happens, or it's always blame somebody, and you got both sides trying to demonize the other. Being on the side of choice, I don't demonize those who are on the pro-life side, but I would say that if you're pro-life, show that you're pro-life. Like, for example, I noticed a lot of people who claimed they were pro-life during the Bush-Cheney years were the biggest supporters of the war in Iraq. They were supporters of torture down in Guantanamo Bay, are opposed to universal health care. supports the death penalty. Once the child is born, don't really give a damn. But I'm not saying that everybody who's pro-life would be like that. I mean, so not everybody who's absolutely opposed to abortions are being like that. There's a lot of pro-lifers out there. I know people from Catholic Worker Movement that they tend to be pro-life, what they call consistent like ethics, a Catholic organization, very progressive group. They're anti-abortion, but they're very progressive, and they support universal health care, anti-war, anti-death penalty, work to end poverty. So, I mean, there's a lot of nuance out there. And I know liberals who are pro-choice. I mean, like, pro-choice, vote blue no matter who, liberals who are like pro-death penalty. And if politicians are bought and paid for enough, they succumb to the military-industrial complex. Again, nothing is black and white on that issue. So, and that's what it comes down to. So, anyway, as I said, everything boils down to a culture war in this day and age. And what's worrisome is that when Roe versus Wade was passed in 1973, it was done in the name of protecting the right to privacy. That was part of it right there. That was one of the big arguments in favor of the ruling. And and there are other rights that are going to be tied to this in the great culture war in the future. And so a lot of the really hardcore culture warriors on the right are not going to be satisfied with curtailing abortion rights. A lot of them are, and I used to think that maybe there are a lot of folks on the right were beginning to kind of be okay with gay, lesbian rights and same-sex marriage. They weren't quite ready for trans rights yet, but they seem to be okay with it, gave that appearance. And I think that there are people who are libertarian-minded that they are going to be okay with it. However, that there are, when it comes to the Republican Party, you can't survive a primary unless you succumb to the John Hagees and the Pat Robertsons and what is called the Christian right or the evangelicals. And when I say evangelicals, I mean it in the political sense, not in the theological sense. Because evangelicals today in today's cultural context means a highly partisan, politicized religious movement that wants to demonize anybody who doesn't quite believe the way they do as evil, and they hide behind the partisan lines of the Republican Party. And you better tote the line, or you'll be smeared as a baby killer, an evil pedophile, satanic person in basement of some pizza parlor, all kinds of weird things they are accusing people these days. So I mean, anyway, but there's this right to privacy thing, and so it's not just abortion rights. There are other rights, and as I said, and rights across the board. We're talking about the Fourth Amendment rights, and the Fourth Amendment, our Constitution, the Patriot Act, not necessarily connected on reproductive rights or LGBTQ rights, but still just the same. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effect against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and persons or things to be seized. And that basically roughly means you're entitled to your right to privacy under the U.S. Constitution. And a lot of these folks who are opposed to LGBTQ rights, and a lot of these folks, who are opposed to, especially those who are opposed to reproductive rights for more than just merely, the fetus. And there's a little more of a politics that's involved when it comes to like subjugating women. There are all kinds of reasons people are anti-abortion. Some of them, I mean, there's a lot of people that are opposed to abortion because they really do feel like, I mean, it's debatable, but they do feel like the life begins at conception. And if it did, I mean, I can understand where they're coming from. I mean, I don't have kids. I don't plan to have kids. Truth be told, I don't particularly like kids. but the thing is that, I mean, and if I was a woman and if I was pregnant, I myself wouldn't have an abortion. But I would never, ever tell a woman what to do. I would never, ever, whatever my position is personally, I would never, ever, is not in my place to go and control what another person do with their private lives. And that's what it comes down to. Whatever I may personally think of the subject matter. So, in other words, I'm the one that's consistent. I'm the one that's actually more for smaller government than some of these political right-wing types that claims they're for small government. And and there's more to this, and I would like to share when it comes to the Constitution, because it always comes down to that Constitution is important. And I've been, as a socialist, I'm accused of not abiding by the Constitution. ACLU was created by socialists, and the ACLU was created to defend constitutional rights. And it's done. I mean, it's not a perfect organization, but they've done a lot to defend constitutional rights since 1920. The 14th Amendment says, "Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any persons within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws." And so, in other words, the government has no right, and no busybodies has no right using the government to impose their will on any individual. But again, you have other people that feels differently about it, and they're going to go and try to impose what I call Christian Sharia. And and don't anybody ever call me anti-Christian for saying that. I mean, I'm a Christian person, but I don't wear it on my sleeve. You do you do me. Everybody lives their lives. So, but anyway, but they're pissed off. They're pissed off by this leak. And think about it, as I said, they're pissed off by something, but and their celebration is going to be short-lived anyway, because they're not going to be satisfied until it's totally abolished, and even then they're going to find something else to try to trample rights on, and it's not just LGBTQ rights, same-sex marriage, interracial marriages. Some of them have even talked about trying to ban interracial marriages. And so it comes down to, what two people do behind closed doors. 2003, I can't think of the name, Supreme Court decision, but, what two people do behind closed doors, two adults consenting. Apparently in the state of Georgia in the 1980s, a police officer caught a husband and a wife engaged in anal sex. And apparently, that was the Supreme Court at the time said that was not protected under the Constitution, but they saw it in a different light later on. So that's what it comes down to, and everything. So, as I said, this culture war that exists. I mean, you have people that just wants to go. People that should not even be taken seriously, that's pandered to, as if they should be respected, as if they should be to be respected, as if they provide intelligent insight when they provide nothing but tinfoil conspiracy theories. Now, I don't believe in trying to silence these people. I thought it was wrong for Facebook and Twitter and all these other groups, social media, to sit there, shut down their accounts and all of that, because it just makes their movement sexier. It puts them in other social media outlets, and it builds in the nether worlds underneath, and it makes them more dangerous. I say expose them, because we can all fucking laugh at these people, the QAnon types. But there's more to that. There's more to that. It's not just the Republicans and all. I mean, you got the Democrats. They're already what they're already doing is this, and it's to be expected. They've been doing this since 2016, and that is when things don't go their way. What do? Well, what they do is they blame BernieBros. Those evil BernieBros, those fanatical kids. Those white kids. I don't know. That looks like a mixed group of people there. A very multicultural group of people. Very intelligent people choosing a better candidate than the morons that chose Hillary Clinton in 2016 and Joe Biden in 2020. But suffice to say, they're already blaming BernieBros for the imminent overturn of Roe versus Wade. And this is a way for the right-wing Democrats, and I chose my words carefully, right-wing Democrats, to smear actual leftists inside and outside the Democratic Party, and to smear them as right-wing. These corporate Democrats are as delighted in every way imaginable to fuel the culture war as much as the Republicans. Make no mistake about it. They are absolutely thrilled. They're not mad. And you know why they're not mad? I will tell you why. Because when it comes to the Democratic Party, they can fundraise off this shit. They don't want it. They can distract from the base. They're like, oh, we don't want to. We can finally distract these Democrats from this, sexy union talk that they're starting to hear all of a sudden. The labor unrest that they don't want to deal with that any more than the Republicans, and they don't want to hear that talk dirty to me talk of Medicare for all or even a public option, so they can fundraise with fear. Vote for me. I will protect the woman's right to choose. Well, Democrats, if you're so concerned, and I don't think you are, you would have asked Ruth Bader Ginsburg to retire, during the days of Obama. You would, 2014, 2015, you would have said, hey, maybe Ruth, you should retire. And honestly, what Mitch McConnell did was unforgivable. Really. Taking advantage of that situation. And then, saying that we got to wait until the next president or whatever the election results is going to be. And then once, and then he did just the opposite when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. Partisan hypocrite that he is. And so I was hearing Farron Cousins very emotionally and understandably so yesterday morning, talking about it and stacking the courts. And I'm not totally opposed to the idea, because I'm scared to death of what Ron DeSantis could do once he becomes president. So if you're going to stack the courts, stack it so that Ron DeSantis won't have any power. You better do it quickly. But the best thing to do, honestly, is to have term limits for the Supreme Court, so we can put a stop to this furthering this nation toward the right. And that's what is happening right now. And, I mean, and we're headed down a slippery slope in this country, and it's not a good place. And so, uh, it's not a good place where we're headed right now. And I was on Twitch last night. Nikki, radical leftist agenda, really base Twitch content maker, streamer. She was saying that what few things, I'm paraphrasing her, but what few things, what few things that people's got, they take it away, and we got to go and fight for this. Another thing we have to fight for, and she'd be correct. And so, I mean, it's just ridiculous what keeps going on. It's just so much. And so, anyway, I'm not going to try to make this too long, but this is what I have to say today. And I am going to go to sleep because I have to go to work tonight, and I have some shit I had to do earlier this morning. So we have one person on the chat line here. Hello, says Seagull Prince. Hello, how are you? And I will conclude by saying, if you like what you heard, press like and comment. Apparently, when you press like, it helps with the algorithms. And comment. And if you disagree, comment anyway, and we'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As the First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we're the muckrakers of our time. Feel free to share it. To subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, spread this channel far and wide to everybody. And until next time, remember, we have a class struggle to wage, and we're all Julian Assange. Music.